Okay, classes. Buenos dias, clases. I'm going to try this on video because I'm going to have to be out tomorrow, and I really can't afford for you guys to not do anything else. We got to move ahead. So I'm going to try to attempt to teach you how to do the indirect object pronouns. So watch carefully. Hopefully you can see this. So what we've been learning is the direct object pronouns, and if you remember me, I was talking about in class, a direct object pronoun is what, it can be a person or it can be a thing, and it receives the action of the verb. So like when we say like, I have the tickets is the direct object, okay? So we've been working on that. I think everybody feels good about what a direct object and a direct object pronoun is. Well, what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about what an indirect object pronoun is, okay? And an indirect object pronoun, similar, but it's not the same thing. So if we look at this sentence right here, it says, he gives the pen to me. All right, so when we break this sentence down like we always do, he is our subject pronoun or our subject, same thing. And gives is the verb, right? And you can write this down on your piece of paper. And write this out as well. And then the pen, remember, this is the direct object. This was our direct object because this is what is being given, right? It's what's being verbed. And the to me is our indirect object pronoun. The indirect object pronoun is who is receiving the direct object. Okay, so in this sentence, to me, I am receiving the pen. So the to me, if you will, is called an indirect object pronoun, okay? Because the pen is directly receiving the action of me giving, but I am indirectly receiving the action, okay? So we call this an indirect object pronoun. All right? So I'm going to take a second, and I want you all to copy this down. Hopefully you can see all of this. I'll probably put this maybe on a document that you can also copy too. I'll probably have this attached. But I'll just go through it real quick, and you can write it down. But indirect object pronouns. So they answer the question to whom or for whom. It's always a person, okay? Remember, direct objects answer the question what or who was being verbed. Indirect answers the question to whom and for whom. So it's the person receiving the pen, if you will, okay? And here they are. Me, te, le, nos, os, and les. Now, you've seen these before. You saw this with the verb gustar. Because when we use these with gustar, well, those were indirect object pronouns. We may just never really talked about what those were, but those are indirect object pronouns. If you remember with gustar, gustar was first to be pleasing. So if you said like, I like pizza, really what you were saying was pizza is pleasing to me. And that's what this is. That's what this is. It's kind of similar to this, the to me, okay? Now as far as where they're placed, this is a little confusing, but we will iron this out next time I see you guys. But basically, it's kind of the same thing as the direct object pronouns. They are placed before the conjugated verb, so it's kind of the same rule. Okay, so when we put these in a sentence, it's going to be kind of the same. It's going to be in the same spot. It's before conjugated verb. Okay. Now they also can be attached to an infinitive or a participle. We haven't really talked about participles yet. But they can be attached to infinitive, just like we did the other day with comprarlo on the end, right? Yo quiero comprarlo. That's the same thing. We'll talk more about this later. It says needed with an indirect object. We'll talk about that. And we're not going to get to this yet, but when we put the direct objects and the indirect objects together, it's going to be before the direct object, but we'll work on that later. But right now, the main thing is, okay, learning these, the me, te, le, nos, os, and les, and the fact that they go before conjugated verb. Okay? All right, so let's look at this example right here. I give the ticket to you, okay? So again, that's the subject pronoun, yo, right? Give, that's the verb. The ticket, that's our direct object, that's what's being given. And the to you, that is our indirect object pronoun. Because you are receiving the it, if you will, okay? You are receiving the ticket. So you are indirectly receiving, all right? So we look at the sentence here and it says yo, to give, the yo form is doy, and then the word for ticket is boleto, el boleto, and here is our indirect object pronoun, a ti, and that means to you, okay? Now, for what we're doing today, we are not going to put this direct object into a direct object pronoun. We're not going to turn this into the lo. We're not going to do that right now. We will eventually. But first, we got to learn about how to do this. So when you look at this sentence, it sounds like it's correct. It sounds like it's all correct. But according to Spanish grammar, there's actually something missing. If you remember when we did the gustar, we had this. We also called these what? Like the ati. You remember this? We actually called those the clarifiers, if you will, right? This is kind of like a clarifier right here. That's telling us who I'm giving the ticket to, right? To you. But if you'll notice, if you look back at that list that I just gave you, the me, te, le, nosos, les, well, what goes with the ati? Should be te, but you don't see it here, right? Well, that's because, well, it needs to be in there. And I only wrote this to show you that from our perspective looking at this, this is how our brains would kind of look at it. But what I really want you to see is we really need an indirect object pronoun here. And this is where, this is a little confusing, but this is where this differs from English. Because we have this in English, the to you, but we don't have this other pronoun thing like the indirect object pronoun. So, really, where is it? Down here. Really, what we need to say, and this is how Spanish works, is yo te doy el boleto a ti. Now, remember I told you about this being a clarifier? Well, this kind of works the same way like we did with gustar. This kind of is optional. We don't really have to have the a ti. But what we have to have is this te, right? It's kind of like we talked about gustar with the me gusta, you got to have the me, but that's a different verb. It's not quite the same. But we need to have the te in front of this. So it's backwards again. This is this backwards thing, but it's really supposed to be, I give you the ticket, okay? So, but it goes right here in front. So it's really te doy el boleto. And you can put the it in there if you want, but again, it's kind of redundant. But this, definitely right here, the te doy el boleto is what our answer should be, okay? All right, let's see, next page. All right, so let's do one. I'll let you think through this. I'll kind of pause and let you think through this. But so here we have a sentence. We're adding more to this sentence now. So we got, I give the books to the students, okay? All right, go back and think about this. I'll translate this as we go too. So you have the I, remember that's your subject, give, that's your verb, the books, that's our direct object, that's what's being given, okay? And to the students, that's who's receiving it. So this is our indirect object, okay? And it's really not a pronoun yet, so I'm just going to write io. We got to actually convert that into a pronoun. Okay, so what we have is I give, right? And that's from the verb dar, that's doy, right? And then the books, that's los libros. Now, I'm going to leave this in here for now, because I told you a minute ago that, see, we could take that, remember we did the direct object last class and all that, we could take that and make that a los and all that kind of stuff, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to leave the direct object in here. Let's focus on converting this and getting this right. All right, so I give the books, and you say to the students, so that's a, los, whoops, my bad. To the students, a los estudiantes. Okay, now that sounds like that's good. It looks like it matches up, right? I give the books to the students. But kind of like we talked about before, I don't have an indirect object pronoun in here. I have an indirect object to the students, but I don't have the pronoun. I gotta have the pronoun with this, okay? And so that's going to be, well, if you look back at your list, the mete le, no sos les, it's going to be the les. So that, and it goes, like I told you a minute ago with your notes, it goes right in front of the conjugated verb. Okay? So the answer is going to be, les doy los libros a los estudiantes. Now, so you have the les and you have the a los estudiantes. Do you have to have them both? Well, in this one you probably are, because this is kind of a clarifier, but this one you want to know, well, who is the les referred to? Oh, it refers to the students, okay? So you want to leave this in here, but you have to have this in here as well, the les. You got to have that. You can't just say doy los libros a los estudiantes. It's just the grammar rule in Spanish. You got to have the les doy, okay? Okay, so I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to give you some other work. I'll have some other work attached to your Chromebook assignment here, but this is kind of the nutshell of what you're going to be doing. So when you look at the handouts and stuff, you're going to be using, today, you're going to be using the me, the te, the le, the nos, the os, and the les in your work. You will not use the lo and the la and the los and the las. Those are direct objects. We're not doing that right now. We'll come back and visit those in a little bit. But I needed to move on and kind of at least show you this and see what you can do, okay? Feel free to, and I may put another video on here if I can find one tonight that explains this maybe better than I have here, but I just kind of wanted to show this to you. So, see what you can do with the work that I give you with the indirect object pronouns. Thanks, guys. We'll see you all soon.